Imagine a man who built an empire of information, reshaped the skyline of New York City, and even set his sights on the White House. That man is Michael Rubens Bloomberg. Born on February 14, 1942, Bloomberg is not just a businessman. He's a politician, a philanthropist, and one of the most influential figures in modern American history. He co-founded Bloomberg LP, a financial software and media giant, and served as its CEO for decades, guiding it into one of the most powerful firms in the world. But Bloomberg's journey didn't stop at business. He also stepped into politics, serving as the 108th mayor of New York City for 3 terms, from 2002 to 2013. And in 2020, he even ran for the Democratic nomination for President of the United States. Bloomberg's story starts in Medford, Massachusetts, where he grew up before heading to Johns Hopkins University and later Harvard Business School. His career began at the prestigious Salomon Brothers, but it was in 1981 that he took the leap that changed everything, founding his own company, Bloomberg LP. The firm's revolutionary product, the Bloomberg Terminal, transformed the way financial data was delivered and consumed. Within 2 decades, he had built a financial empire. By 2025, Forbes estimated his net worth at an astonishing $104.7 billion, placing him among the richest people on Earth. But money was never his only game. Bloomberg signed the Giving Pledge and has donated over $17.4 billion to causes ranging from climate change to public health. And after briefly focusing on full-time philanthropy, he returned to the helm of his company in 2014, proving his relentless drive hadn't dimmed. Politics, however, would become his second stage. Originally a lifelong Democrat, Bloomberg switched to the Republican Party in 2001 to run for mayor of New York City. He won, and after securing re-election in 2005, he left the Republican Party to become an independent. By 2009, he pushed for a change in the city's term limits law, successfully winning a 3rd term. His governing style? Pragmatic, technocratic, and data-driven. As mayor, Bloomberg left an undeniable mark. He expanded charter schools, rebuilt infrastructure after 9/11, pushed for stronger gun control laws, promoted public health, and led one of the largest rezoning initiatives in city history, paving the way for massive new construction. Yet his legacy is not without controversy, most notably his support for the Stop and Frisk program, which he later apologized for during his presidential campaign. In 2019, Bloomberg entered the Democratic primary just months before Super Tuesday. Armed with nearly $1 billion of his own fortune, he launched the most expensive self-funded campaign in U.S. history. But despite the spending, his run ended quickly. By March 2020, he dropped out after securing just 61 delegates. Even without the presidency, Bloomberg's influence endures. In 2024, he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Joe Biden. And today, in 2025, he remains one of the most powerful names in business, philanthropy, and politics, an enduring figure who bridged Wall Street and City Hall, ambition and controversy. Michael Bloomberg was born on February 14, 1942, at St. Elizabeth's Hospital in Boston. His father, William Henry Bloomberg, worked as a bookkeeper at a dairy company, never earning more than $6,000 a year. His mother, Charlotte Rubens Bloomberg, managed the household. When Michael was still in college, tragedy struck. His father passed away suddenly, a moment that left a lasting imprint on him. Years later, Bloomberg would honor his father's memory by naming the Bloomberg Center at Harvard Business School after him. The Bloomberg family was Jewish with deep immigrant roots. His paternal grandfather, Rabbi Alexander or Elik Bloomberg, was a Polish Jew, while on his mother's side, his grandfather Max Rubens had emigrated from Lithuania, today's Belarus. Growing up in this environment, Bloomberg carried both the weight of his family's history and the ambition to rise beyond it. In his early childhood, the family moved around Boston, from Allston to Brookline, and eventually to Medford, Massachusetts, the suburb where he spent most of his youth. And it was in these formative years that his drive and discipline started to show. At just 12 years old, he earned the rank of Eagle Scout, a clear sign of his determination, even at a young age.
By 1960, Bloomberg graduated from Medford High School and set his sights higher. He enrolled at Johns Hopkins University, where he studied electrical engineering. At Hopkins, he wasn't just a student, he also had a quirky, creative side. He even built the Blue Jay mascot costume that the university still uses today. 4 years later, in 1964, he walked out with a Bachelor of Science degree in electrical engineering. But Bloomberg wasn't finished, he wanted more. In 1966, he graduated from the prestigious Harvard Business School, earning his MBA and setting himself up for a career that would soon put him on Wall Street and later on the global stage. Fresh out of Harvard Business School in 1966, Michael Bloomberg landed his first big break, a job at the Wall Street powerhouse Salomon Brothers. His starting salary? Just $9,000 a year. But what he lacked in money, he made up for it with hustle. Within a few years, Bloomberg was promoted to the equities desk, and by 1972, he had become a general partner running both equity trading and systems development. For nearly a decade, he thrived, but in 1981, everything changed. Salomon Brothers was bought by Fibro Corporation, and the new management pushed him out. Just like that, Bloomberg was fired. But fate had a twist. He walked away with $10 million for his equity in the firm. Now, most people might have retired comfortably, but Bloomberg? He saw an opportunity. Drawing from his experience designing computer systems at Salomon, he started a new venture called Innovative Market Systems, or IMS. His vision was bold. Wall Street would pay top dollar for real-time financial data delivered instantly through computers. And in December 1982, his first product, the Market Master Terminal, was born. That little machine would transform the financial world. By 1986, the company had rebranded as Bloomberg LP, and it wasn't just about terminals anymore. Soon there was Bloomberg News, Bloomberg Radio, Bloomberg Messaging, and Bloomberg Tradebook. The empire exploded. By 2018, Bloomberg LP was generating $10 billion in revenue and serving over 325,000 subscribers worldwide with 20,000 employees across dozens of cities. But Bloomberg's company wasn't without controversy. In the 1980s and 1990s, its culture was compared to a fraternity, complete with bragging and inappropriate behavior. Multiple lawsuits surfaced, including allegations of sexual harassment. Even Bloomberg himself faced criticism for remarks attributed to him in a pamphlet jokingly called The Portable Bloomberg, filled with quotes many considered sexist or misogynistic. Despite the controversies, his company grew into a titan. When Bloomberg left the CEO role to become mayor of New York City, leadership passed first to Lex Fenwick and later to Daniel L. Doctoroff. After finishing 3 terms as mayor, Bloomberg briefly focused on philanthropy before returning as CEO of Bloomberg LP in late 2014. He held that position until stepping down again in 2019 to run for president. And Bloomberg's influence wasn't just in finance or politics. In January 2024, he joined a star-studded group including David Rubenstein, Cal Ripken, Grant Hill, and others in a $1.7 billion deal to buy the Baltimore Orioles. As his businesses and investments grew, so did his wealth. In 2009, Forbes reported Bloomberg's fortune at $16 billion, a staggering $4.5 billion jump in just 1 year, the largest increase of any billionaire during that period. By 2019, he was ranked the 9th richest person in the world with a net worth of $55.5 billion. And by 2021, his fortune had crossed the $100 billion mark, making him one of the wealthiest people alive. From a $9,000 salary to building one of the greatest financial information empires in history, Bloomberg's rise is a masterclass in turning setbacks into stepping stones. By the early 2000s, Michael Bloomberg had already built a financial empire, but now he was ready to try something far bigger, running the largest city in America. On January 1, 2002, Bloomberg was sworn in as the 108th mayor of New York City. It was a turbulent time. The city was still reeling from the September 11th attacks, and many doubted whether a billionaire businessman could lead a city as complex, diverse, and politically tough as New York. His approval ratings dipped as low as 24% in the beginning, but over time, Bloomberg found his rhythm, eventually becoming one of the city's most popular modern mayors.
In fact, he joined a very rare club. Alongside Rudy Giuliani, John Lindsay, and Fiorello LaGuardia, Bloomberg became one of the only Republican mayors to win re-election in this overwhelmingly Democratic city. And not just once. He won again in 2005 and then a third term in 2009 after pushing through a change in the city's term limits law.
From the very start, Bloomberg applied a Wall Street mindset to governing. He wanted measurable results, accountability, and efficiency. He introduced a radical bullpen-style open office at City Hall, breaking 190 years of tradition where aides and commissioners worked together in a single room like a trading floor. His salary as mayor? Just $1 a year. And yet the results were undeniable. He transformed a $6 billion budget deficit into a $3 billion surplus, partly by raising property taxes. He spearheaded the creation and preservation of 160,000 affordable homes, reshaping entire neighborhoods. Public health became one of his hallmarks. In 2003, Bloomberg banned smoking in bars and restaurants, a move many thought impossible at the time. 3 years later, New York became the first city in America to ban trans fats, setting a trend the rest of the country followed. He even pedestrianized Times Square, built hundreds of miles of bike lanes, and required calorie counts on menus long before it became national law. Bloomberg also used his personal wealth to back initiatives. In 2011, he launched the NYC Young Men's Initiative, a $127 million program to support young Black and Latino men, donating $30 million of his own money to it. His vision was clear. He wanted education reform to define his first term and poverty reduction to define his second. But Bloomberg's tenure wasn't without controversy. His administration oversaw the massive expansion of stop-and-frisk policing, with a 6-fold increase in recorded stops. Federal courts later ruled that the program violated constitutional rights and encouraged racial profiling. Bloomberg defended it while in office, but years later, as he prepared to run for president, he reversed course and issued a public apology. Even more contentious was a surveillance program created with CIA assistance that secretly monitored Muslim communities after 9/11, tracking them based on religion, ethnicity, and language. It was eventually shut down in 2014 after drawing widespread criticism. And yet, despite these controversies, when Bloomberg left office in 2013, the majority of New Yorkers looked back at his tenure positively. In a 2014 Quinnipiac poll, 64% of voters said his 12 years as mayor were mainly a success. From transforming city finances and public health to reshaping New York's skyline, Bloomberg left a mark that still shapes the city today. Behind the skyscrapers, the billions, and the politics, Michael Bloomberg's personal life has always drawn attention of its own. In 1975, he married Susan Elizabeth Barbara Brown, a British woman from Yorkshire. Together they had 2 daughters, Emma, born in 1979, and Georgina, born in 1983. Both daughters grew up in the spotlight of wealth and were even featured in the 2003 documentary Born Rich, which explored the lives of children of billionaires. But the marriage didn't last. In 1993, Bloomberg and Susan divorced, though Bloomberg has often said she remains his best friend. Since the year 2000, Bloomberg's partner has been Diana Taylor, a former New York State banking superintendent. Meanwhile, his daughter Emma married into another wealthy family, and Georgina went on to become an accomplished equestrian. His sister, Marjorie Teven, has also held a prominent role in New York's civic life, serving as commissioner for the city's UN and Diplomatic Affairs Office. But not all of Bloomberg's personal associations were without controversy. During the height of America's opioid crisis, internal communications revealed that members of the Sackler family, owners of Purdue Pharma, turned to Bloomberg for advice on handling their public image. The connection raised eyebrows, given Purdue's role in fueling the epidemic. When it comes to faith, Bloomberg identifies as Jewish, though he lives mostly secular lifestyle. He attended Hebrew school as a child, had a bar mitzvah, and his family kept kosher. Today, he mainly attends synagogue on the high holidays and Passover, though his daughters have chosen not to follow traditional Jewish practices.
Bloomberg's public image has also been shaped by his bluntness, and at times by comments that critics have labeled sexist and misogynistic. In his autobiography, he once joked about having a girlfriend in every city during his Wall Street years. Old booklets of his quotes included remarks many found demeaning toward women, words he later said he regretted. Bloomberg has acknowledged that some of those statements were disrespectful and not reflective of the man he is today. Lifestyle-wise, Bloomberg has always lived on his own terms. Unlike his predecessors, he refused to move into Gracie Mansion, the official mayor's residence, choosing instead to stay in his Upper East Side townhouse. By 2013, he owned 13 properties worldwide, including a $20 million estate in the Hamptons, a historic mansion in London once owned by novelist George Eliot, and homes in Bermuda, where he frequently vacations with family. During his years as mayor, Bloomberg liked to present himself as a man of the people, riding the New York City subway to work. But as the New York Times later revealed, he often took a chauffeured SUV to skip transfers and board express trains, one of the perks of being a billionaire mayor. And Bloomberg didn't just stick to politics. He occasionally popped up in pop culture, too. He made cameos as himself in movies like The Adjustment Bureau and New Year's Eve, and appeared on TV shows including 30 Rock, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Good Wife, and Law and Order. He's also a passionate aviator. Bloomberg is a licensed pilot, owning 6 airplanes and 2 helicopters, with a reputation for flying himself between properties. In his younger years, he was even a licensed amateur radio operator, building ham radios and mastering Morse code. Today, his immense fortune is managed by Willett Advisors, his family's private investment office. For all his wealth and power, Bloomberg's personal life shows a man both traditional and unconventional, deeply private in some ways, yet unafraid of the spotlight in others. Despite his towering success in business and politics, Michael Bloomberg built an equally massive legacy in philanthropy. In 2010, he signed the Giving Pledge, promising to donate at least half his wealth. True to his word, he's already given away more than $17 billion, with causes ranging from public health, education, climate change, and the arts. During the COVID-19 pandemic, his foundation poured money into contact tracing, vaccine research, and global relief efforts. And when it comes to the environment, Bloomberg has been called the world's single largest funder of climate activism, backing campaigns to shut down coal plants and pushing the U.S. towards clean energy. His generosity has been especially life-changing at Johns Hopkins University, his alma mater, where he's donated more than $4.5 billion, funding hospitals, cancer research, and even making tuition free for medical students from middle-class families. His generosity extends far and wide, supporting Black medical schools, children's education, anti-smoking campaigns, gun safety initiatives, and cultural landmarks like the New York's Perelman Performing Arts Center. At the heart of it all is a simple belief Bloomberg once voiced. The best financial planning ends with bouncing the check to the undertaker. In other words, he intends to give it all away. From a middle-class kid in Medford, Massachusetts, to building a financial empire, leading New York City through crisis, and giving away billions to shape the future of health, education, and the planet, Michael Bloomberg's life is proof that success isn't just measured in dollars, but in impact. Love him or criticize him, one thing is undeniable. Bloomberg has used his power, his money, and his influence to leave a mark that will last far beyond his lifetime. And maybe that's the real lesson here. Greatness isn't about what you keep. It's about what you give back.